Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dear Dream Diary with your host, Ashley. It has been a while since I've recorded an episode. It's been quite a transition. I'm back to work, both jobs now, and it has been, like I said, quite a transition. I was off my one job for a month. And again, for those of you who do not know or recall what I do, I'm a letter carrier, so that usually consists of walking about 20 kilometers per day. And I was off a month for that. Even when you're off that for a day or a week, it takes quite a bit of time to transition back to that. It's a shock to your body when you take any period of time off from letter carrying and then you're back at it full force. So not only that, there has been a bit of a backlog, so the workload's been a little bit heavier, not as heavy as I was expecting, but a little bit heavier. I am thankful to be back, though, to provide that service back to the customers and just to kind of, get back out there, back into my routine. So I am thankful to be back, and hopefully it stays that way. I know our contract was extended till May 22nd. So hopefully, there's a reconciliation there and we don't have to face that same situation again. But yeah, it's been a transition back to work. I have to find my balance again between both jobs. I had that before I went on strike, so I just need to find that again. And I think I kind of have a plan and an idea as to what I want to do in order to find my balance and keep it going. But yeah, so anyways, I hope you all have had a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful New Year. We're 2 weeks into January already. I'm still, for some reason, anytime I try to write the date, I want to write October. I don't know why, but that's where I am. That's where my mind is mentally, in October. So I'm still trying to write October. I will be honest, I haven't been writing a lot of my dreams down just because I've been busy with, like I said, transitioning back to work. I've still been dreaming. I have some dreams written down, and I still have some dreams from before that I never got through. I would like to get through all of the dreams that I have in my dream diary and catch up. That way I can go with what dream is most current, but I'll get there. I don't need to rush. That's fine. I still have content and I'll keep adding to it. I did just write down a couple of my dreams that I did write over the holidays and everything. I write them in my phone, in my notes in my phone, and then I copy them to the book that I read from. I find it easier that way. Yeah. Anyways, so I hope that you are enjoying your first 2 weeks of the new year. I hope you guys had a wonderful New Year celebration. I will tell you, I'll go over mine. So what I usually like to do every year for New Year's, me and my kids, we get pots and pans and we run outside right at midnight. We'll watch the ball drop on TV, and then we'll have our pots and pans ready. And then right at midnight, as soon as the ball drops and everyone's yelling Happy New Year, we run outside and we bang the pots and pans and we yell Happy New Year. My kids usually yell at the top of their lungs, which is, my neighbors really love that, I'm sure. But we only do it once a year, so they can accept it. They can even join us if they would like. So this year, I decided to, and even last year, I usually open sparkling just, for the pop of the cork. So this year I got the cheapest bottle of sparkling because I don't drink. And we usually just have like one little sip, like me, not the kids, but the adults and stuff. But we have one little sip just to celebrate. So I got the cheapest bottle this year just because I knew that I wasn't going to be drinking because it was just me and my kids this year. My mom was gone out, and yeah, my brother, I think, was sleeping by, I don't even know what time. That's okay. So anyways, I got the cheapest bottle of sparkling. It had a plastic cork, which is okay, I guess, but not really. So my kids had their pots and pans and I had the sparkling. And right as soon as the ball dropped, They're yelling Happy New Year. We run outside. I'm trying to open the cork. It's not opening. And I struggle with this. Like my kids, they're yelling, screaming, banging the pots and pans. And I'm like, oh, Happy New Year. And here I am like struggling with this cork. Can't get it open. So then we go inside and I still can't get it open. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this freaking, like, I know that I don't open sparkling often because I don't drink, but it's not that hard. Like I work 2 jobs. My other job, I work for a liquor, it's LCBO for my Canadian folks, or in Ontario, you know that what the LCBO is. But for my American folks, I think I've mentioned this before. It's a store that in Ontario where you go to buy your alcohol. So I work there as well, and I do tastings and I open bottles all the time. So it's not like I'm new to opening bottles. So I struggle with this bottle, I kid you not, for 15 minutes. And I end up getting channel locks to open this bottle. I'm like, what the actual heck? It was definitely a challenge. I ended up getting it open. Was not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Exhilarating as I wanted it to be, because I wanted it to happen right at midnight when the kids were banging their pots and pans, but that's okay. It was still fun. Very interesting thing to happen. But yeah, so that was my New Year night. I hope you guys did not have to deal with anything like that. But yeah, so it was still fun. It was still a good New Year's. I still really enjoyed spending the night with my kids. So we do that every year, and I'll continue to do it. Maybe next year I'll just get my pots and pans instead of the sparkling, seeing as we don't drink it anyways. But yeah, so there has been other things too that have been happening. I have been connecting more with my inner self. I've been meditating more. I know with the transition back to work, I have felt a little bit disconnected, but the last, I'd say, maybe week, I am getting back to the connection I had before, and I'm growing that connection. And some very, very interesting things have been happening. I've been getting more messages from, it's hard to explain. I believe it's spirits of loved ones, like for people's loved ones that have passed away. Sometimes I'll hear words, or I'll see images, or I'll just get the sense of knowing what this person looked like. And I know I've discussed this before on some of my episodes, but it's happening more often. I have not been in a position where I can sit and fully engage in those things that are happening. I'm usually always at work, and then I get interrupted and have to go back to work, and then nothing else comes of it. Like that, whatever I ended on with the person, whatever questions I was asking, that's it. I've never really fully engaged in the things that are happening. So I am going to set a goal, and I'm going to find at least one day out of the week where I fully engage with that part and that situation and the spirits talking kind of side. I don't know what to call it. I will find a day where I put time aside to do that, just because it's really interesting. Like everything that keeps happening is just mind-blowing to me. And I do think it is to do with being more connected with my inner self and everything that's been going on. And I've received the same message about going with the flow many, many times through many different people. And I do think that, because I wasn't really listening. I wasn't listening to the messages. I've just been wanting to consume all this information about various different things that I'm just rushing and pushing myself. And I think that is another reason why I've not been disconnected, but not receiving the same information I was receiving, is because I was pushing myself too much. And the universe was like, well, you're not going to listen to me this way or that way. you're going to listen to me this way. And not necessarily like the universe is punishing me, but it's telling me in a different way that I'm moving too fast and I need to slow down with my learning, and that everything will come naturally and flow smoothly if I just give myself and pace myself at a certain speed or flow. So I am and have been doing that for about the last week now. I have finished a couple books that I've been bouncing back and forth between books, again, because I'm trying to consume every bit of information as much as possible all at once. So I picked one book. I finished that book. I have another book that I'm reading, which is Conscious Evolution. Pretty interesting so far. So I'm going to finish that book before I move on to another book. And I'm just going to do that with all my topics and all the things that I want to learn about. I'm just going to go slow and take one thing at a time and allow things to just kind of flow and move smoothly and slowly and at a slow rate of speed, instead of just gathering all this information and not really retaining it. I feel like that's another reason why the universe is like, okay, slow down, because you're going to be receiving all this information, but are you really retaining or learning anything when you're just rushing through everything? Which no, I have ADHD, as you all know. So really, in order for me to actually retain any information, I have to listen to it, analyze it, and process it at a slower rate, which is hard to do when you have ADHD. But that's kind of why I go all over the place too, is like the one book that I'm reading, it mentions a topic about something else. And I'm like, oh, what's that? I got to find that out. And then I just kind of go from there. But I'm adjusting and I'm learning how to take one thing at a time. But yeah, so that's how my year has been going so far. I don't really have any specific situations or spiritual situations that have happened. I mean, I do, but I don't want to make my first episode about all of that. I just kind of wanted to say what I've said so far. And I do have a dream, obviously, that I'm going to read. Pretty interesting dream. Don't really know what it means, but maybe when I pull from the dream cards, I'll get a message. I've been on my previous episodes, I kind of got to a realization that I think I'm going to interpret the dream while I'm recording. And it's been working so far. I really like how you guys can kind of hear my reactions in the moment instead of me already knowing it. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. And if I change my mind, so be it. But yeah, so today's dream is called Underwater Walk, it's very interesting. So I'm going to read the dream now. So, dear Dream Diary, in this dream, I was in Hollywood. There was a famous underwater walk that everyone wanted to try. I was on a speedboat waiting in the underwater walk line, which was in a quarry-like body of water. I remember being under the water at the bottom and everything was crystal clear. I could see fish, coral reefs, and clean, clear water. I could see a few people under the water with me. This was all without masks. Something about this particular spot of water you could breathe in without any equipment. End here. So to kind of give you guys a visual, so the speedboat, like you have to, where this body of water is, you can't get to it without riding on the water to get to it. And like, if you guys don't know what a quarry is, it's kind of like well, in the dream, it was like a round body of water, like so surrounded. There's like huge like cliffs or rocks or whatever you want to call it. And then down below, you see like a round shape of water. And there's like one opening that you get to it, which would be, I took a speedboat to get through that opening. And then you have to, like, you go under the water, but you don't need any equipment. And this particular part of water, for some reason, you could breathe under without any equipment. And it's like famous kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess destination would be like a tourist destination in Hollywood that everyone tries to go to, and there's only a certain amount of people that are allowed to be in there at the same time. And when I'm under the water, I could see everything, like the floor of the ocean or sea, whatever. I don't even know what kind of body of water it was in my dream. And I could see the people that were walking with me. And of course, when you try to walk in water, you can't walk in water, you float. But in this body of water, there is some sort of gravity that brings you to the bottom where you're able to walk a little bit. But it's almost like if there was a little bit less gravity, like you're kind of levitating a little bit, but not really. So that's kind of what it was like. And then you just walk through, like you look at everything in there, all the scenery, and you're timed. Like there's a time session. You're not allowed to be in there for longer than, I don't know what the time is, but they have to time you because it's a huge popular tourist destination, and there's other people waiting on the other side of the opening. They have to come in and whatever. Anyways, take turns. So I have no idea what this dream means, even rereading it. I'm not really getting anything for myself, but I have pulled a couple different cards here. Obviously, I pulled the water card, which I have pulled the water card before. And so the themes for that are drowning, sailing, swimming, falling in, bathing, drinking, washing. I guess really the only thing that would be close to that would be swimming. So if you are swimming in a dream, look at the surroundings. Is it a peaceful sea or lake? Are you trapped in rapids, or are there ocean waves? How you cope in these situations will reflect your emotional dramas in real life. If the waves are engulfing you and you begin to drown, you are feeling overwhelmed and helpless in your emotional life. Clear waters indicate that you will see your way through. But if it is murky, it means you are confused about emotional and spiritual aspects of your life. If you are diving into the deep, it suggests taking a risk and exploring your emotions at a deeper level. Okay, so right there. So 1, the clear waters indicate that you will see your way through. So the water was super clear. And then this other sentence, because the water was kind of deep. And again, I'm going all the way to the bottom of it. So if you are diving into the deep, it suggests taking a risk and exploring your emotions at a deeper level. Very interesting, because I'm going to do an episode where I talk about my childhood trauma. I wasn't going to, but I think that to kind of shed some light on some of the dreams that I have, and when I keep talking about it, like my emotional and spiritual aspects, I think I'm going to give, some of you already know, and those of my lovely listeners that live in the States, and I have some people in Russia or wherever it was listening. But for those people, you don't know my childhood trauma, so I'm going to shed some light on another episode. I also have been kind of struggling with this. Like, I've been wanting to do something where I talk about it, but also not really, just because it's a tough thing for not only myself to talk about it, but for those of my friends and family members who do listen to my podcast to hear it. But I think it's time. I think that, to show that how I've healed and how far I've come, maybe those of my friends and family who were part of that at that time of my life, like they can see and also heal themselves. But yeah, so anyways, I will do an episode on that. But back to the dream card. So it says, if you are diving into the deep, it suggests taking a risk and exploring your emotions at a deeper level. And with my childhood trauma, I went through a lot. And it's still, like, I'm still processing some of it. I do feel like I'm in a much, much better place physically, mentally, emotionally, to a point where I am ready to talk about it with the world. And also, I feel like if I talk about it, maybe someone who's going through or has gone through similar things, they can reach out and message me and we can talk about that, how I've dealt with it, how I'm dealing with it, and how they can deal with it and how they can start to deal with it. But yeah, so then I'm going to continue reading here. So flowing water reflects changes, but stagnant, muddy water means you're stuck. So I really don't think that there's much more. I'm trying to read kind of everything else, but I think that's really it from the water card. I did pull another card, people, because there was people in my dream. And really the only theme that sticks with that is tourists and crowds. So let's see if I can find that part without reading the whole thing. So let's see. Symbolize. Well, I'll read this part. So archetypal characters, I can never say that word together with another one. It all just goes together. Archetypal characters are universal because they represent types of people we all encounter in our lives. In dreams, they symbolize the qualities within yourself or those you associate with others. Common authority figures present themselves as king, judge, priest, teacher, boss, parent, or an older person for whom you take advice. Yeah, no, nothing there. Okay, well, this part. Strangers represent parts of yourself that you haven't explored yet or are afraid to explore. If you are a tourist, you are seeing things with a new and fresh outlook, which is interesting because I was a tourist at this destination and there was other people who were tourists as well. And I'm thinking maybe this destination of clear vision and clear view is where I'm going and where I'm heading. And to go with strangers represents parts of yourself that you haven't explored yet. These strangers are also parts of myself at this destination, which is interesting. But yeah, so that's really the only thing that I'm getting from that. I kind of briefly went over everything. I'm going to post, like I always do, the cards so that you guys can read and maybe compare to my dream and see if you guys get anything else. But also, maybe you guys want to see these cards for dreams that you've had of your own. And again, you guys can message me. It's been a while since I've done some dream interpretations. I did just do one literally 20 minutes ago with a friend of mine. And it was the first one in a while that I've done. So if you guys have dreams that you want to message me, please do so. I really love kind of diving in and tuning in as well to my intuition when I'm getting these dreams. But yeah, so I pulled one more card. I don't know if anything is going to be with this card because it's vehicles/car, and I don't see anything to do with boats. But there was one part right here. So the approach you take on life and your goals appears in your dreams as the means of transport, which that going from that, I don't think that has anything to do with anything else I just said with the other two cards. But the fact that I came in on a speedboat is going back to what I was saying at the beginning of this episode, is how I'm kind of like trying to rush through and go through all this information as fast as possible. So I think that, coming in on the speedboat, I'm trying to get to that clear destination too fast. And I need to slow down and just kind of go with the flow, which is pretty interesting because here's another way the universe and my inner self, because when you dream, it's your subconscious, which is your inner self, that is giving you these messages. So the fact that my subconscious mind showed me coming to this clear destination on a speedboat is like, whoa, slow down. You'll get there. You are coming to this clear destination, but let's take it slow. Maybe come in on a paddleboard. I've never been paddleboarding, by the way. I think this summer I'm going to make a goal and I'm going to paddleboard. I had mentioned it last summer, and I know my daughter was really kind of looking forward to something new like that. But I will say, I do have a fear of open water. I hate going into like the beach and I'm going out far and I can feel stuff touching my feet, but I can't see it. I don't like that feeling. But maybe I'm supposed to like get over that and just accept and embrace the unknown. Although that's weird saying that because who knows what's in those waters. But yeah, so anyways, I think this dream, now that I read the cards and everything, is telling me that I do have a clear destination ahead. And currently, I need to kind of dive deeper emotionally and make sure that I'm focusing on the moment and the now and what I'm experiencing and going through right now, and not focus on the future, because I will get to where I'm supposed to be. I just need to take it slower and kind of embrace it. So that is everything for the dream. That is all I have. I am going to probably record a couple more episodes and have them post kind of back to back, just because it has been quite some time. And I'm not sorry that I haven't posted. I've been living life. I know I said my last episode, I'm not going to apologize. So I'm not sorry that I haven't posted an episode, but I am going to post some episodes back to back, just because I have a lot to talk about and I don't want to make one episode super long. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining back in with me. Again, I hope you guys are all enjoying your first 2 weeks of 2025. And if you don't know, or if you would like to share, I am on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, I am kind of thinking and working on doing live video episodes. So stay tuned for that. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if the audio part of it would be posted on the other platforms, because I use a distribution program. I use Podbean. So when I record, I upload to that, and then Podbean uploads to everything else for me. I don't know how that would work, but stay tuned, guys, and I will let you know. I might do a little test trial just to see, and then maybe you guys might just have to watch my one YouTube episode if it doesn't get posted to both, or maybe I just won't make a super important episode and I'll just kind of babble and talk about nothing. But yeah, so anyways, please like, follow, and share. I hope you guys are, again, enjoying your first 2 weeks of 2025. Until next time, I hope you all have sweet dreams.